Corsica's son. Napoleon was born on August 15, 1769, in Ajaccio, Corsica, just months after France had taken the island from Genoa. He wasn't French by blood. He was Corsican, and proud of it. He was the second of 8 children in a modest, noble family. His father, Carlo Bonaparte, managed to secure Napoleon a scholarship to a military school in mainland France. There, young Napoleon stood out, brilliant in mathematics, obsessed with history, and always the outsider, mocked for his accent and rough manners. But he didn't break. He sharpened. The revolutionary commander. Just 16, Napoleon became an artillery officer. France, meanwhile, was spiraling toward chaos. In 1789, the French Revolution erupted. Kings fell. Heads rolled. Napoleon aligned himself with the revolutionary cause, not for idealism, but for opportunity. His first major break came in 1793, when he helped crush a royalist rebellion in Toulon, winning command and fame. In 1795, he saved the French government again, this time by ordering cannon fire on royalist mobs in Paris. He called it a whiff of grape shot. By 1796, at just 26, Napoleon was given command of the Army of Italy. He transformed a starving, ragged army into a conquering force, defeating Austrian and Piedmontese forces in a dazzling campaign. He became a hero. Then he went to Egypt, a bizarre but ambitious plan to undermine British power. Militarily, it was mixed. He won on land but lost at sea, the Battle of the Nile, crushed by Admiral Nelson. But in typical Napoleon style, he spun defeat into legend. From consul to emperor. By 1799, France was tired. The revolution had devoured itself. The government, the Directory, was weak and corrupt. Napoleon returned from Egypt, and in November 1799, led a coup d'etat, dissolving the government. He became first consul, the most powerful man in France. In 1804, he did something unprecedented. In a grand ceremony at Notre Dame Cathedral with the Pope present, Napoleon took the crown and placed it on his own head. He declared, "I am the revolution." He became Emperor Napoleon I, the master of Europe. Napoleon was now at the height of his power. He reorganized the French government, established the Napoleonic Code, a legal system still influential today, reformed education, and centralized authority. But war defined him. In 1805, he won his most famous battle, Austerlitz, defeating both Austrian and Russian armies with a brilliant feint and flank maneuver. It cemented his legend. He crushed Prussia in 1806, humiliated Austria again in 1809, made alliances, installed relatives as kings, and redrew the map of Europe. His only major naval defeat came in 1805 at Trafalgar, where Britain, under Admiral Nelson, secured control of the seas. But on land, Napoleon was unbeatable, until he wasn't. The Russian disaster. In 1812, Napoleon made his greatest mistake, invading Russia. He marched in with over 600,000 men, the Grande Armée, the largest force Europe had ever seen. But Russia didn't fight directly. They retreated, burned their cities, waited for winter. Napoleon took Moscow, but found it abandoned and in flames. Then winter came. His army froze, starved, and fell apart. Only a fraction survived the retreat. It was the beginning of the end. The downfall. Europe rose against him. In 1813, he lost the Battle of Leipzig, the Battle of Nations. By 1814, Paris had fallen. His marshals turned on him. Napoleon abdicated and was exiled to the island of Elba in the Mediterranean. But he wasn't finished. In March 1815, he escaped Elba, returned to France, and was met not with resistance, but with cheers. Troops sent to arrest him joined him. He ruled again for 100 days. Europe rallied. At Waterloo on June 18, 1815, Napoleon faced the Duke of Wellington and the Prussian army. He lost for the final time. He was exiled to St. Helena, a windswept island in the middle of the Atlantic. There, in isolation, he dictated his memoirs, shaped his legend, and died on May 5th, 1821, likely of stomach cancer. Epilogue: The Legend. Napoleon was many things: a military genius who reinvented warfare, a modernizer who reshaped law and government, a dictator who crowned himself and led France into endless wars, a man driven by ambition, haunted by destiny. He once said,
"The great men are meteors, destined to burn and light the world before crashing to earth."
And in that flame, Napoleon Bonaparte changed the world forever.